laughter really does heal the body, and it gets you in a great mood and a great spirit. And if you're having a bad day, if you can just find something to laugh about, it'll change your whole demeanor. It will. It'll just change your whole attitude and your whole atmosphere if you can just find something to laugh about. So I'm really, really glad to hear you laugh. But really, one of the reasons why I came here today was to remind you that you, each one of you, are a VIP. Every single one of you are a VIP. And I want to leave you on this note today to remind you of your value, your influence, and your potential. Okay? The first thing is the fact that we all have value. And a lot of times we wonder, where does value come from? So I like to start from where it doesn't come from. A lot of times we attach our value to the things that we own, like our possessions. Okay? There's nothing wrong with possessions, by the way. Okay? But what happens when we attach it? What happens when they leave? We lived in a town one year, back in 1991, that had a tornado that came through and destroyed everything. In fact, we went to check on one of our friend's house, and we got there at the time him and his family came out of the cellar, and that's about what was all left of his house. In fact, it reminds me, this is a little FY side note, if you're ever in a tornado like we were a couple of weeks ago, just attach yourself to the toilet. Everywhere we went, that was the only thing left. So if you want to ride it out, just attach tie yourself to the toilet, you'll be okay. Right? It's not going anywhere. But if we attach ourselves to possessions, what happens when they're gone? Then we're going to think that our value is gone as well. The other thing is this, we tie ourselves sometimes to our titles and the positions that we have. Man, those come in and those go. They come and go. We can't tie our value of who we are to those things because they come and go. The same with what's on the outside. We can't tie it to what we look like. Now, there's nothing wrong with what we look like, but if we think our value comes from that, what happens when your value is gone? What happens if you lose, like for instance, my friend, Brad. Brad, bless his heart, was a preacher's kid that went the other way. He did not go the way of the Lord, and he got into drugs and alcohol, and he was cooking meth out in the middle of a field one day, and it all blew up. He lost all of him. Burned his whole head, ears, everything off. Burned his fingers off. In fact, there he is fishing and burned all the fingers off that hand. But what I love about Brad is that he did not give up. And he went through a lot of pain, both spiritually and physically, mentally, everything. But he has recovered. He now travels the country speaking in high schools, telling kids about drugs and alcohol, what it did to him, what he lost. But can I tell you that just because he's lost all that, he still knows he's valuable. Because it's not about what on the outside. In fact, here's his lovely wife. She's also a burn victim. She got burned in a chemical at a high school, chemical experiment that went bad. So she got burned as well. But they're just so happy and in love and doing great because they did not attach their value to what was on the outside, because that can go away as well. Comparison. We can't compare ourselves to each other. Let me tell you why I don't like this. Does anybody have a $100 bill? Oh, come on, you guys are like men. Oh. Of course, we have imaginary $100 bill. I will keep that one, by the way. Does anybody have a $100 bill, $50 bill? I mean, come on, you guys, you're managers. Come on. Oh, that's why you don't have. Does anybody have any money whatsoever in the paper card?
Gary does. He always does.
You got 20? Okay. Anybody beat a 20? No, you guys? Okay. Great. Anything bigger than 20? No, that's it. All right. Well, we're going to make sure that's a real 20 because you know what? That doesn't look real. We're going to make sure this is real, okay? I just tested by holding it up to the light, but you can also test it by taking a pencil like this, folding it over, and just bringing it up through the middle, about right there, and making sure. Would you make sure that's a real pencil? Okay, don't bite it because somebody did. You see that? It is real. All right, that's a real pencil. So you take the pencil, you bring it up through the middle of the bill, and this is how you can tell if it's real or not. This is why I don't like to use my own money. Because you have to put a little hole in it, right? See that? You have to test it by putting a hole in it, right? The other way that you have to test it is you have to take it off like this. You see that response? He's still smiling, so that's good, all right? That's good. Look at this. We're going to heal this because I know it's real. Look at that. There's no hole and there's no rip in it whatsoever. Look at that. Thank you. You need to so impressed they let me keep it, so thanks. I appreciate that. But you're not that impressed, are you? No, you're not. Here's what I'd like for you to do. Take your 20, and I'd like for you to write your name on that 20 using a pen that I got from the bank the other day, okay? Now, these... Why? They're free. And then what I want you to do is write your initials on there, okay? You write them real big, all right? And you know what? I don't know if that scratch on this may not write. See if it writes on there. Right. I don't think, no, it's not. Here, use this permanent marker. That's even better. Permanent marker. And I'd like for y'all to watch as this gentleman commits a federal offense. That is punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, look at that. He put B-O-A. That's not even your initials, are they? Is that your initials? B-A? Awesome. Well, we have evidence now. Because with this, you're going to prison. Now, here's what I like to do. This is the most unique bill in the entire world because no other bill has a B-O, I like that, A. No other bill has your initials on there. In fact, no other bill has these three. What are the numbers right there? Can you read that? 5343. No other bill has this serial number. No other bill has this. It makes it unique, just like you are. And this is why we don't need to compare ourselves to each other because what happens is there's no one like you. You are a complete individual person. I'll get this in just a moment, what I mean by that. But at no time, you be my witness here, that this bill will ever leave my fingers. Y'all witness this, okay? And make sure that my fingers never leave my hands. That's more well, I'm in a good place if it does. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to fold it down just like this. Because here's what happens. When we start looking at others, we start comparing ourselves. And what that does is it begins to devalue us in our own eyes. Even though we're not less valuable, but in our own eyes, when we start looking at that, isn't that crazy? When we start looking at that, isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's not, I appreciate his dollar that he gave me. Look at that, nice little dollar. $50 he gave me. Thanks for your dollar, I appreciate that. You can have your dollar back. That's it, yay! But this is why we don't compare ourselves to each other, because we can't. I'll show you in a minute why. You're a unique individual. Whenever you realize what God has given you, and you use that, nothing can decrease your value. You are valuable. Look at that. It's all the way back. There you go. So give him a round of applause. All men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator. You ever seen somebody knit something? My grandmother knit me some Afghans when I was in junior high. She gave it to me at Christmas. I was like, thanks, Grandma. And I didn't understand the value of it until I got older and I stayed with her and I watched her knit hours upon hours, days upon days, weeks upon weeks, just to make one Afghan for me, then for my wife, and then for my 2 kids. And all of a sudden it changed the entire value of that Afghan because I saw how she painstakingly knitted it together. In our mother's womb, He knitted us together and made us just the way we are. And He makes no mistakes. That's why we're valuable, because we're created. How many of y'all ever had your kids bring home pictures like this? It makes no sense what they bring. But where did you put it? In the refrigerator. Why? Because it was a masterpiece, because your kids created it. That's why we're masterpieces, because our Heavenly Father created us. That's where our value comes from. We also value life because we protect it. You know, firemen will run into a burning building just to save one life. That's how valuable life is. And we protect life. We have laws that protect life. But you know what's cool is that right here, the Baylor Hospital, here at the Medical Center in Irving, you're all about saving lives because you know how valuable life is. That's why we're valuable. Life is valuable. We're a unique, one of a kind. This is what I love. There is nobody in all of this world like you. Like you. Thank you, Jesus. We're all unique individuals. Nobody has DNA like us. Nobody has the fingerprints. Nobody can carbon copy us. That's why you can't compare yourself to other people or other positions in the hospital or what others are doing, because you are a unique individual created just the way you are to do what you do just the way you do it. So you can't compare it to anybody else. You bring you to your position. You bring you to your parent as a dad, as a mother, as a son, a daughter. Nobody is like you. You are a one of a kind. This painting hangs in France, and they were asked, what's the value of it? And you know what the answer is? They give every time? It's priceless, because if it were stolen or destroyed, you could not replace it. It's irreplaceable. That's you and me. We are irreplaceable. If something were to happen to us, nobody could do what we do here. Nobody could be the parent that we are, because we are a unique individual person. And we're so much more. Here's what's on the inside. Personality, integrity, character, love, your faith, so much more defines you what's on the inside of you. That's where the value is what's inside of you. That's what you bring. In fact, when you buy a can of Pringles like this, you don't buy it for the canister, you buy it for what's inside. That's what the value is. In fact, you, sir, I want to give you this, okay? Because you were such a great little ago. In fact, you know, this is kind of a bad, can you read that on the back, the expiration date? 2006. You're a little chewy. Okay, but here's what I'd like you to do. Go ahead and untype the top off. Now, first of all, you can see that there's no way to get in there because that's sealed right there, right? Take that off and make sure that that's sealed. Because trust me, you're going to want what's inside there, okay? It's a lot more valuable than the canister. Yeah, just pop the plastic off. Just pop the plastic off. Yeah, just take that off. There you go, just like that. Now, is that sealed? Right? And you just pop it, okay? I promise you, what's inside is more valuable. What is that? That's your mouth. You would agree what's on the inside is more valuable than what's on the outside. See, that's us. That's exactly us. We are more valuable because we're created, we're one of a kind, we're unique individuals. I'm just going to end on this because every one of you are influential. This picture reminds me of an 80-year-old woman driving down the highway going 95 miles an hour. Are they going to be okay? She kind of giggled and said, oh, they're going to be fine. We just got off of Highway 175. Your life and driving will influence people. Every one of you are influential. Just a guess, how many sociologists did a test several years ago on the shyest person in the world? Somebody give me a number of how many people you think the shyest person, this is their study, influences in his or her lifetime. How many people do you think? Just a guess. 1,000? How much? 100? 10,000. 10,000 people. The shyest person will influence at least 10,000 people. I look around this room and many of you are not shy. Many of you are going to influence hundreds of thousands of people because you have what we call the power of influence. What is influence? It is this. It is that unseen thing until contact is made, until your life contacts somebody, comes in contact with somebody, then influence happens. Influence is what you leave, the impact that you leave on people. Okay? It is also like a thermometer and a thermostat. Your influence actually changes the atmosphere of the room, changes those that work for you and with you. Your influence changes them. It leaves them either better or bitter. That's the power of influence. In fact, I'll just end it with this. Here is how influence is so powerful. And this represents you, and I'm going to tie a knot right here in the bottom of this rope that represents influence. This is your influence there at the bottom. I have another rope, and this is all the people that you work with that are on your staff and with you in your particular area. And this is you and your influence. You see, what happens is when you lead these wonderful people, and you're around them, and you can even come into people's lives for just a couple of minutes, like at the gas station, or at the grocery store, that clerk that you're coming in contact with. You're influencing them, one way or the other. In fact, just even a brief contact, your influence rubs off onto them. That's how influence works. It's that powerful. And the powerful, this influence right here, it happens day in and day out. And this is how powerful it is. When people come in contact with you, your influence will stay with them forever. That's how powerful it is. Yeah. So understand that your value comes from where you, who you are, what you are, but your influence is going to change people's lives. Your influence is going to make them better or better.